Just a reminder that I'm selecting readings for our daily devotions that connect with those of us who are also reading through the Bible with Nikki and Pippa Gumble. And if you haven't done that but want to join in, you can just download that app from the App Store and you can follow along. But doing this devotions, you're getting one of those passages and a verse from it every day anyway. So this week, 3 of our days, we're actually going back to the book of Genesis, and we're hearing 3 different times part of the great narrative of the story of Joseph and his brothers, which is one of the great family stories in the book of Genesis. And today we're landing back in Genesis chapter 40. I encourage you to read chapters 40 and 41 to catch up with the story. And for those of you who don't recall it, Joseph was born to Jacob. He was Jacob's favorite son. Unfortunately, Jacob did not love his children equally, which led to great resentment among Joseph's brothers towards him. They almost killed him. They instead sold him into slavery. Joseph goes into Potiphar's house. He runs Potiphar's house. Looks like everything's going great. Potiphar's wife wants to have an affair with Joseph. Joseph adamantly refuses, so Potiphar's wife accuses Joseph of doing the exact thing that he refused to do, and he gets thrown in prison. He's in prison. His ability to interpret dreams makes a connection with a butler and a baker, the butler being, if you will, the cupbearer of Pharaoh. And so in chapters 40 and 41, we hear those stories, and then in chapter 41, the cupbearer who David had pleaded with, saying, when you are restored to your position, remember me and get me out of here, get me out of prison. And the cupbearer forgot until Pharaoh had a dream that nobody could interpret. And if you've ever listened to or seen the wonderful musical Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, you can hear this scene where Pharaoh is voiced by someone singing like Elvis Presley. It's really wonderful. But in chapter 41, verse 16, Joseph now finally delivered out of prison. He's before Pharaoh, and Pharaoh tells Joseph, I've had a dream and no one can interpret it. I've heard that you can, when you hear a dream, you can interpret it. In verse 16, our verse for the day, Joseph answered Pharaoh, it is not I, God will give Pharaoh a favorable answer. The thing I want to highlight is Joseph's humility. Here he is finally with a chance to get out of prison and to better his situation. And he doesn't say, yeah, I'm really great at interpreting dreams, Pharaoh. Don't worry about a thing. I'm really good at this. He gives all the praise and credit to God before he's heard or interpreted the dream. It is not I. God will give Pharaoh a favorable answer. I think Joseph in this place is a lesson in humility, which is funny because he starts out his life far from being humble and needing to grow up in wisdom. But after his time in Egypt and in prison, he's humble enough to know that whatever gifts, whatever talents he has, they're given to him by God alone and to be used for God's purposes. And so is the case with each of us.